Have you ever noticed how simple things, like getting up from a chair or remembering where you put your keys, start to feel harder than they used to? Maybe your sleep feels lighter, or your legs just don't seem as strong as before. It's easy to chalk these up to just getting old, isn't it? But what if I told you it's not really about age? What if these struggles aren't inevitable, and there's more you can do to feel vibrant again? Many people overlook these small signs, thinking they're just part of growing older. Yet, these little things quietly chip away at our confidence, independence, and joy. It's a problem we rarely talk about, but it affects so many of us more deeply than we realize. In this video, I'll share how I faced these challenges head-on at 72 and found a way to love life again. You'll discover simple but powerful habits that help me regain strength, clarity, and happiness. Stay with me until the end, because I'll reveal the most important change that made all the difference. You're not alone on this journey. I'm right here with you. If you are not subscribed, subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. Have you ever found yourself sitting quietly in your living room, sunlight trickling through the window, and suddenly realizing that the house feels just a little too quiet? Maybe the phone doesn't ring as often as it used to, and the laughter that once echoed down the hallway has faded into memory. It's a familiar scene for many of us in our later years. The children have grown and started families of their own, their lives filled with the demands of work, raising kids, and managing their responsibilities. Visits become less frequent, conversations shorter, and holidays that once felt bustling with energy and chaos now feel subdued. If you've ever spent a Saturday waiting for a call that didn't come, or wandered into the kitchen and forgotten why you went there in the first place, you're not alone. These aren't just quirks of aging, they are moments that tug at the heart. There's a quiet ache, sometimes barely noticed, that creeps in when the busyness of life begins to slow down. Maybe you've found yourself flipping through old photo albums, tracing your finger over the faces of friends and loved ones who are no longer here. Sometimes, the loss feels like an open window letting in a chilly draft, no matter how warm the room is. And then there are the changes in your own body. Small at first, but harder to ignore as time goes on. Perhaps you've noticed your legs aren't as steady as they once were, or that your energy seems to evaporate more quickly. Simple tasks like getting up from a chair, climbing stairs, or even bending down to tie your shoes start to feel like little challenges. Tiny reminders that your body isn't what it used to be. Maybe you've woken up some mornings and felt a heaviness, not just in your muscles, but in your spirit. Life, once vibrant with color and possibility, can start to feel a bit gray, routine, or, worst of all, empty. This is the reality for so many of us, yet it's something we rarely talk about openly. There's a quiet dignity in carrying these feelings, a stoic acceptance that this is just how getting older feels. After all, isn't this what we were always told? That aging means slowing down, fading into the background, and letting go of the passions that once defined us? But what if that's not the whole story? What if those empty moments and silent afternoons aren't inevitable, but instead, invitations to discover a new kind of meaning? Let me ask you something that might go against everything you've ever believed about growing older. What if feeling lonely, disconnected, or stuck isn't just a normal part of aging, but a sign that your heart and mind are longing for something more? What if, instead of accepting this slow drifting, we challenged ourselves to believe that joy, excitement, and genuine connection are still within reach, no matter our age? For decades, society has whispered that the best years of our lives are behind us. We're told to be content with our memories, to cherish the good old days, and to accept decline as the natural course of things. However, recent studies in psychology and neuroscience are painting a different picture. Science now tells us that our brains are far more adaptable than we once thought, even in our 70s and 80s. The human mind is capable of forming new connections, learning new skills, and finding new sources of happiness, long after retirement age. Some research suggests that a sense of purpose and community can dramatically improve our quality of life and even our physical health. But the science only confirms what our hearts already know. We are meant for connection. Human beings, at every stage of life, thrive when we feel seen, valued, and part of something greater than ourselves. Loneliness, far from being just a side effect of aging, is one of the biggest threats to our well-being. It's been linked to higher risks of heart disease, depression, and even cognitive decline. On the flip side, maintaining strong social ties and meaningful routines has been shown to boost our immune systems, improve memory, and keep our spirits high. So, what can we do about it? How do we move beyond the silence and emptiness that sometimes creep in with age? The answer isn't always easy, but it starts with one small step: acknowledging how we feel and daring to believe that change is possible. You don't have to leap out of bed tomorrow morning and run a marathon or join a dozen clubs. Sometimes, it's as simple as reaching out to one friend, taking a short walk in the morning sun, or picking up a hobby you set aside years ago. Let me share a story that might feel familiar. There was a woman in my neighborhood. Her name was Helen. She'd lived in the same house for over 40 years. After her husband passed away, her world grew quieter with each passing month. Her children called when they could, but life was busy, and the days seemed to stretch endlessly. Helen told me that, for a long time, she felt like she was just existing. She would wake up, make her coffee, sit by the window, and watch the world go by. She loved her memories, but she missed the feeling of truly living. One afternoon, a neighbor invited Helen to join a local book club at the library. At first, she hesitated. After all, she wasn't sure she would know anyone, and she worried that it might be awkward. But something inside her stirred. She realized she'd spent too long waiting for life to come to her. So, she took a chance. She showed up to that first meeting, her heart pounding in her chest, and listened quietly as others shared their stories and favorite books. By the end of the hour, Helen had laughed more than she had in months. She felt a spark, just a small one, but enough to remind her that joy was still possible. Helen started going every week. Soon, she was meeting friends for coffee, volunteering at the animal shelter, and even taking a gentle yoga class at the community center. The emptiness she once felt began to fade, replaced by a quiet contentment and a sense of purpose she hadn't felt in years. Helen's story isn't unique. It's a testament to the power of small steps and human connection. If you're feeling like life has lost some of its luster, please know that you are not alone. Millions of older adults across America share these feelings, of missing family, grieving lost friends, or simply wondering what comes next. But just as Helen discovered, even the smallest change can open the door to something new. Maybe it's joining a group, volunteering, or simply calling an old friend. Maybe it's writing down 3 things you're grateful for each night before bed. Whatever it is, let it be your first step toward reclaiming the sense of excitement and meaning that you deserve. Aging does not have to mean fading into the background. It can be a time of rediscovery, nurturing new friendships, exploring fresh passions, and finding a deeper appreciation for each day. The challenges are real, and the feelings are valid. But there is so much life left to live, so much laughter left to share, and so many memories yet to be made. So if you're sitting quietly in your living room right now, wondering if things could ever feel different, know that they can. The emptiness is not the end of your story. It's simply a new chapter, waiting for you to turn the page. Take that first step, however small. Reach out, get moving, stay curious. The world still has so much to offer, and you still have so much to give. You matter. Your presence matters. And the best is never behind you. It's right here, waiting to be discovered. But let me ask you, have you ever caught yourself thinking, well, this is just how it is now? Maybe after the loss of a friend, the fading of old routines, or the slowing down that comes with each new birthday, it's easy to settle into the idea that your best years are long behind you. That sense of quiet resignation can creep in, a subtle voice whispering, "This is simply what getting older looks like." But what if that's not true? What if, instead of closing doors, this stage of life is quietly inviting you to open new ones? What if, right now, you're standing at the edge of a chapter you never imagined was possible? One where meaning, purpose, and even joy are not just memories, but possibilities still waiting to unfold. It's a thought that might seem radical at first, especially when you look around and see society's messages about aging. We hear so much about decline, about slowing down, about settling for less. Commercials and even well-meaning family members tell us to take it easy, to accept limitations, to let go of the things we used to do and the dreams we used to chase. But what if those messages are only part of the story? What if you still have time, real, meaningful, beautiful time, to discover new passions, new friendships, and new reasons to wake up excited for the day? What if you could find purpose, not in what's behind you, but in what's still ahead? It's natural to question this, especially when daily life can feel predictable or even a bit dull. But think about this. Some of the most inspiring people in history found their greatest joy, made their deepest connections, or left their biggest marks on the world long after the age of 65. Laura Ingalls Wilder didn't publish her first Little House book until she was 65. Grandma Moses began painting in her late 70s. Colonel Sanders founded KFC at 65, and it transformed his entire life. There's a reason we remember these stories, because they remind us that life doesn't come with an expiration date for dreams. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. But it's not just famous names. Ordinary people, your neighbors, your friends, maybe even someone in your own family, have started new journeys later in life. I remember meeting a gentleman named Richard at the community center. He had worked hard his whole life as a mechanic, never giving much thought to art or music. But after his wife passed, he felt adrift, unsure how to fill his days. One afternoon, on a whim, he joined a beginner's guitar class. He was nervous, convinced he'd never be able to play a tune. But the teacher was kind, the group was encouraging, and soon Richard found himself looking forward to each session. By the end of the year, he was strumming simple songs for his grandchildren and even performed at the center's holiday party. He told me, "I never thought I'd start something new at 72, but here I am, and I feel alive in a way I haven't in years." Stories like Richard's aren't rare, they're everywhere, just waiting to be told. So let's ask the bold question. What if it's never too late? What if the best is truly yet to come? What if the limits you've accepted aren't as permanent as they seem? Too often, we mistake comfort for fulfillment. We get so used to our routines, our favorite chair, our regular breakfast, our tried-and-true television shows, that we forget the rush of trying something for the first time. The spark of learning, the thrill of a new friendship, the satisfaction of mastering a small skill or helping someone else, they're still available to us, no matter our age. And science is now backing this up. New research in brain health and psychology tells us that as long as we challenge ourselves, as long as we keep reaching out, mentally, emotionally, and socially, our brains can form new connections. Our capacity for growth and joy doesn't disappear with time. It changes, and sometimes it even deepens. The wisdom and perspective that come with age can make new experiences richer, more rewarding, and more meaningful. Of course, embracing this idea isn't always easy. Old habits and beliefs can be stubborn. You might feel a pang of self-doubt, or worry that people will judge you for stepping outside your comfort zone. But what if that very discomfort is a signal, not to retreat, but to move forward? What if this is your invitation to begin your second chapter? Think of it, a chapter that's not defined by the past, but by everything you've learned and the courage you've gathered over a lifetime. A chapter where you get to decide what matters most, what brings you joy, and how you want to spend your precious days. The second chapter isn't about pretending you're young again or chasing after lost youth. It's about seeing yourself, embracing your strengths and experiences, and letting go of the pressure to live by anyone else's timeline. It's about discovering that your value doesn't fade with the calendar. It deepens. Your voice matters. Your stories, your ideas, your kindness, they matter. You might be surprised how much room there still is for new things. Some people find a renewed sense of meaning in volunteering, mentoring young people, or getting involved in their church or local clubs. Others discover hidden talents: painting, writing, gardening, learning a new language, even traveling somewhere they've never been. For some, the second chapter is about deepening relationships, with family, with old friends, or with new companions who are also eager to make the most of the years ahead. Indeed, challenges don't magically disappear. There will be tough days, moments of doubt or grief, and maybe even days when you feel like giving up. But every story has its ups and downs. The key is to keep turning the page, to remain open to the possibility that something beautiful could be waiting just around the corner. The world is full of people who have embraced this second chapter. You see them at the farmers' market selling homemade jams, at the library leading children's story hour, at the park walking their rescue dogs, and at the museum learning something new. Their secret isn't that life became easier. It's that they chose to hope, to stay curious, to believe in their potential even when others stopped looking for it. So, as you listen to these words, I invite you to wonder, what might your second chapter look like? If you set aside the old assumptions, what could you try, learn, or share? Who might you meet? How might you surprise yourself? It's never too late to begin again. It's never too late to find new reasons to smile, new ways to serve, or new things to love. What if the story isn't over? Not even close. What if the most meaningful moments are yet to be written? You are the author of your next chapter. Let's turn the page together and see what's waiting to be discovered. It's natural to wonder, how is it possible to rediscover a love for life at this stage? Isn't the brain set in its ways? Isn't it too late for meaningful change? Science tells a different story, and it's one filled with hope. For generations, we believed that our brains, like our bodies, peaked in youth and then slowly declined, growing stiffer and less adaptable with each passing year. But in recent decades, neuroscientists have discovered something remarkable. The brain is not a fixed organ. It's more like a living garden, capable of growing new pathways and forming new connections throughout life, a phenomenon called neuroplasticity. This means that, even in our 70s, 80s, and beyond, our brains can learn, adapt, and even rewire themselves. Each time you try something new, whether it's learning to play a musical instrument, taking up painting, or just changing your daily walk route, you're encouraging your brain to create fresh connections. This isn't just good for memory. It keeps your mind young and resilient. Think of it this way. Your brain is like a town that's always building new roads. When you meet new people, pick up a new skill, or simply challenge yourself with a puzzle or crossword, your brain lays down fresh pavement. These new connections can help compensate for the roads that might be getting old or worn out, keeping you sharp and adaptable. And here's something truly encouraging. Science shows that people who remain mentally active and open to learning as they age tend to feel happier, stay healthier, and experience less cognitive decline. But that's not all. Let's talk about what makes us feel good, our happy hormones. Two of the most important are serotonin and oxytocin. You might have heard about them in passing, but you probably don't realize just how powerful they are, especially as we get older. Serotonin is the hormone that stabilizes our mood, helps us feel calm, and supports restful sleep. Oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone, is released through positive social interaction. A hug, a laugh with a friend, or even a friendly conversation with someone new at the community center. As we age, we sometimes experience fewer opportunities for these feel-good moments. Kids move out, friends move away or pass on, and routines become quieter. But the great news is that it doesn't take much to boost these hormones. A short walk in the sunshine, a gentle yoga session, volunteering for a cause you care about, or even simply sharing a meal or a story with a neighbor. Physical activity is especially powerful. When you move your body, whether it's gardening, dancing, or taking a stroll around the block, you encourage your brain to release endorphins and serotonin, those little sparks that brighten your mood and energize your day. Science shows that people who exercise regularly not only live longer but enjoy a greater quality of life in their later years. And then there's the social side. Remember oxytocin? Just reaching out and making connections, even in small ways, has a big impact on your happiness. Call an old friend. Strike up a conversation with someone at the grocery store. Join a book club or a walking group. Each of these moments nudges your body to produce more oxytocin, making you feel valued and connected. Studies have found that people who nurture strong social ties and maintain a sense of purpose live longer and are less likely to experience chronic illnesses or severe depression. The benefits go far beyond just feeling good. They reach every corner of your physical and mental health. But there's more. Maintaining a positive mindset, and this doesn't mean being relentlessly cheerful or ignoring life's challenges, makes a real difference, too. Psychologists have found that optimism helps reduce the body's stress responses. When you focus on gratitude, look for the silver lining, or simply approach each day as an opportunity for something good, your body produces fewer stress hormones like cortisol. This has far-reaching effects. Lower stress means lower blood pressure, a healthier heart, and even a stronger immune system. Optimism has been linked to a longer lifespan. People who cultivate positive outlooks and healthy routines in their senior years are often more active, recover more quickly from illness, and maintain independence longer. And here's another fascinating fact. Staying positive, active, and connected can slow down mental aging. It's like regular tune-ups for your brain. New experiences, laughter, friendship, and even a small sense of accomplishment, like finishing a puzzle or learning a new recipe, help keep your mind alert and flexible. What's especially inspiring is how these truths are lived out every day in communities across America. Many older Americans embody the values of independence and resilience. Maybe you've noticed them in your town. The neighbor who volunteers at the animal shelter every Saturday, the friend who's always signing up for a new art class, or the grandmother who organizes the local charity bake sale. They're proof that life doesn't end at retirement. In many ways, it begins again, on our terms. For example, you might find older adults leading church groups, tutoring children, tending community gardens, or traveling to places they've always dreamed of seeing. Some learn to play an instrument or master a new language just for the joy of it. Others find meaning in helping others, delivering meals to shut-ins, knitting blankets for newborns, or simply sharing wisdom with those around them. These aren't just hobbies. They're powerful sources of self-worth, connection, and excitement. It's not always about grand achievements. Sometimes it's as simple as waking up with a sense of purpose, knowing you have a reason to get out of bed, people who care about you, and something you love to do. That sense of purpose, science shows, is one of the most important ingredients in living not just a longer life, but a happier one. American culture has always celebrated independence, the spirit to keep going, to adapt, and to create new opportunities, even when the world changes around us. That same spirit lives on in every senior who chooses to learn, to give, to laugh, and to grow, no matter what the calendar says. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. So if you've ever wondered whether it's possible to find joy again after 65, know this. Your brain, your heart, and your spirit are ready and waiting. They are designed for resilience. Every day you open yourself to a new experience, reach out for connection, or simply allow yourself to believe in the possibility of happiness, you are changing your brain and strengthening your body. Rediscovering a love for life isn't just a dream. It's a biological, psychological, and deeply human reality. Whether you volunteer, learn something new, nurture a friendship, or simply savor a moment of gratitude, you're giving yourself a gift that science now proves lasts well into old age. So keep going, keep growing, and keep believing in what's possible. You have so much more to experience, and your story is far from over. Rediscovering a love for life doesn't have to mean making big, dramatic changes overnight. It's often the gentle, everyday habits that quietly lift our spirits and give new color to our days. If you're wondering where to begin, the good news is that small steps can lead to big changes, no matter your age or circumstance. Let's start with the simplest foundation: gentle movement. You don't have to run marathons or spend hours at the gym to feel the benefits. Something as basic as a morning walk around the block, a bit of gentle stretching before bed, or a few rounds of deep, mindful breathing can wake up both body and mind. Even seated exercises, chair yoga, or a bit of dancing to your favorite oldies in the living room can boost your mood, ease stiffness, and refresh your energy. The science behind the movement is clear. Physical activity increases circulation, sends oxygen to the brain, and releases endorphins, our body's natural mood boosters. But beyond the science, moving your body reminds you that you're alive, capable, and still able to enjoy each day. If it feels daunting, start with just 5 or 10 minutes. Walk to the mailbox. Stretch your arms overhead when you wake up. Breathe deeply as you sit by the window and watch the sunrise. Every bit counts. Just as important is the habit of staying socially connected. It can be easy, especially in retirement or after children have moved away, to spend more time alone. While solitude can be peaceful, too much of it can lead to loneliness. But here's the hope. Building or rebuilding connections doesn't require a bustling social life. It only takes reaching out to one person at a time. Pick up the phone and call an old friend. Invite a neighbor over for tea. If you're comfortable with technology, try a video call with family or join an online group that shares your interests. Local libraries, community centers, and faith groups often host clubs, book circles, or hobby groups specifically for older adults. And don't underestimate the power of a friendly chat with the cashier at the grocery store, the mail carrier, or someone you meet at the park. Even small, regular conversations create a sense of belonging and community. If joining a group feels overwhelming, start by saying hello to someone new each week. Small interactions can blossom into friendships. Sometimes, the path back to joy is paved with old hobbies and new interests. Think back. What did you once love to do, but set aside because life got busy? Maybe it was painting, gardening, fishing, sewing, or playing an instrument. No rule says you can't pick it up again. Revisiting an old passion can reconnect you to younger, more playful parts of yourself. Or, why not try something entirely new? Many community centers and libraries offer free or low-cost classes for seniors. Art, cooking, computers, music, and more. A friend of mine, Mary, didn't start learning Spanish until she was 74, just because she wanted to talk with her grandkids in their language. She says it makes her feel like her brain wakes up each day, hungry to learn. You don't have to be an expert. The simple act of exploring and experimenting keeps your mind active and your spirit curious. Set a goal to try one new thing each month. It can be as small as reading a book from a new genre or planting a single flower pot. Another gentle practice that can transform your outlook is gratitude. It sounds simple, almost too simple, but writing down just 1 or 2 things you're thankful for each day can shift your whole perspective. Maybe it's a phone call from a loved one, the taste of your morning coffee, or the song of birds outside your window. You can keep a small notebook by your bedside and jot down your thoughts before you go to sleep, or start your mornings with a few moments of reflection. Over time, this habit rewires your brain to look for the good, even on difficult days. And when you find yourself struggling, flipping back through your gratitude journal can be a comforting reminder of the beauty you've experienced. Don't forget the importance of self-care. And no, it's not selfish. It's an act of respect for yourself and your journey. Prioritize sleep. Go to bed and wake up at the same time each day, if you can. Enjoy meals that nourish you. Think of food as fuel, not just a routine. Make time to relax and unwind, whether it's through a warm bath, reading, or simply sitting in your favorite chair and letting your thoughts wander. Listen to your body and give it the care it deserves. Sometimes that means saying no to things that drain you, or asking for help when you need it. It can also mean finding small ways to treat yourself, a walk in the park, a slice of your favorite pie, or listening to a cherished album. These little acts of kindness towards yourself are powerful reminders that you matter every single day. If these habits sound overwhelming, remember, you don't need to do everything at once. The secret is in starting small. Choose just one area to focus on this week. Maybe you'll add a 5-minute walk after lunch, call your sister on Sunday, or write down one thing you're grateful for tonight. Set small, achievable goals. Celebrate each success, no matter how tiny it seems. Progress is progress. Over time, these gentle steps become habits, and those habits gently transform your days. Let me share a quick story. My neighbor Joe always loved gardening, but after a hip replacement, he gave it up. For a few years, he missed digging in the dirt but told himself it was just part of getting older. Last spring, he decided to try again, but in a gentler way, just a few pots of tomatoes and herbs on the back porch. Watering them gave him a sense of purpose. He'd wave to neighbors and chat with passers-by, and before long, he was sharing his tomatoes with everyone on the block. That small step led to friendships and even more confidence. Now, every spring, Joe's back porch is a little green oasis, and he feels more himself than he has in years. If Joe can find his way back to something he loves, so can you. No habit is too small, and no joy is too ordinary. The journey to loving life again isn't a sprint. It's a gentle walk, one step at a time, sometimes with setbacks, but always with the possibility of something wonderful ahead. So today, ask yourself, what's one small thing you could try? Could you take a short walk, make a call, dig out that paint set, or simply pause to notice the sunlight? Each of these actions is a seed planted for tomorrow's happiness. You don't have to do this alone. Millions of older Americans are quietly choosing, each day, to rediscover their joy, connection, and sense of meaning. Join them. Start small, stay gentle with yourself, and watch how the ordinary moments of each day can become extraordinary. This is your second chapter. You have more strength, wisdom, and possibility than you may realize. Embrace each day with curiosity and kindness, and let joy find its way back in, one gentle habit at a time. Let me share with you a story that's close to my heart, one that might sound familiar in its beginning, but is truly remarkable in its unfolding. This is the story of Marjorie, a neighbor of mine who taught me, and so many others in our community, what it really means to embrace a new chapter in life. Marjorie turned 75 just before the world slowed down. The birthday was a quiet affair, just her cat, and a single slice of chocolate cake from a local bakery. Her children, now scattered across the country, called to wish her well, but the house felt emptier than usual that night. She had always prided herself on being independent, managing her affairs, and tending to her little home with a sense of pride. But as the seasons changed, so did her days. Gone were the busy mornings of helping at the local school or watching her grandkids on weekends. Now, the hours stretched long and thin, marked only by the sound of the television, the hum of the refrigerator, and the occasional visit from the mail carrier. She tried to fill the silence with books and puzzles, but found herself losing interest in even her favorite mysteries. Some days, it seemed like the world was moving on without her, and she was just watching from behind the glass. It wasn't that Marjorie was unhappy, at least, not in the way she imagined sadness. But she felt heavy, as if each step took a little more effort than before. Her sleep grew restless, and she found herself lying awake, thinking about the friends she'd lost over the years, the hobbies she'd let slip away, and the simple joy she used to find in the smallest of things. One morning, after a night of especially restless sleep, Marjorie sat by the kitchen window and watched as the first rays of sun touched the frost on her lawn. She realized she hadn't set foot outside, except for the occasional trip to the store, in weeks. The air looked cold and crisp, but it also looked alive, full of possibility. Almost on impulse, she slipped on her old sneakers and coat and stepped out the door. The air bit at her cheeks and made her eyes water, but for the first time in ages, she felt the simple thrill of movement. She walked just to the corner and back that first day, but as she returned home, something in her chest felt lighter. Encouraged by how good she felt, Marjorie made a promise to herself. She would walk every morning, no matter how short the distance. The next day, she went a little farther, waving to the neighbors who were out early with their dogs. The day after that, she walked to the little park and sat on the bench, letting the sun warm her face. It wasn't a miracle, but it was a start. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. With each passing day, the walks grew a little longer. Marjorie started to recognize familiar faces, other walkers, a retired couple who tended the community garden, and a friendly woman named Alice who invited her to join the book club that met every Wednesday afternoon at the library. At first, Marjorie hesitated. She hadn't read a novel in months, and she worried she wouldn't fit in. But Alice's kindness and persistence won her over. That first Wednesday, Marjorie sat quietly at the edge of the group, listening as others chatted about the book. She felt out of place at first, but then someone asked about her favorite authors, and suddenly the conversation turned her way. For the first time in a long time, she found herself laughing, sharing stories, and even making plans to meet for coffee after the next meeting. The weeks passed, and Marjorie's calendar began to fill. She joined the book club, started volunteering once a week at the animal shelter, and even signed up for a beginner's yoga class at the community center, something she'd never tried before. Her world, once small and quiet, began to expand in the most unexpected ways. Her sleep improved. The heaviness she'd carried for so long started to lift, replaced by a sense of excitement about each new day. She found herself waking up early, eager to lace up her sneakers and see what the morning would bring. The old puzzles and books on her shelf, once reminders of loneliness, became the foundation of new friendships and lively conversations. Most of all, Marjorie's spirit changed. She felt more like herself, maybe even a new version of herself. Someone who could still grow, still laugh, still find joy and purpose no matter her age. Her children noticed the change, too. When they visited for Thanksgiving, they found their mother more vibrant and engaged than they had in years. She told them stories of her adventures at book club, shared photos of the kitten she'd helped care for, and even demonstrated a few yoga stretches that made everyone laugh. "I thought my world was shrinking," Marjorie confessed to me one day as we shared a cup of tea on her porch. "But it was just waiting for me to step out and see what was possible." Her story is a reminder that change doesn't come all at once. It happens in the smallest of steps, the decision to open the door, to walk to the corner, to say yes to a new invitation. These little choices made day after day create a ripple that transforms everything. For Marjorie, it wasn't about recapturing her youth or erasing the hard days. It was about finding new ways to belong, new reasons to smile, and new adventures that brought meaning and energy into her life. Her mood brightened. Her health improved. Most of all, she rediscovered a deep, abiding joy, the kind that comes from living fully, with open eyes and an open heart. If you ever find yourself wondering whether it's too late to feel truly alive again, remember Marjorie's story. Remember that small changes, taking a walk, joining a club, reaching out to someone new, can open doors you never knew existed. The energy, hope, and happiness you're seeking are closer than you think, waiting for you to take that first gentle step. You are never too old for new friendships, for laughter, for learning, or love. Like Marjorie, you have a world of possibility just outside your door. All you need is the courage to take that first step and let the journey surprise you. As we come to the end of this journey together, I want you to remember one simple truth. It's never too late to love life again. No matter where you are right now, whether you're feeling stuck, lonely, or uncertain about what's next, there is always hope and possibility waiting for you. Life doesn't lose its magic as the years go by. Sometimes, it just takes a little gentle awakening to see it shine again. The stories and ideas we've shared aren't just theories or distant dreams. They are real experiences lived by people just like you. People who, with small steps and kind hearts, rediscovered joy, purpose, and connection later in life. Whether it's through a morning walk, a new friendship, a hobby revived, or simply choosing gratitude each day, you have the power to create a richer, fuller chapter ahead. You matter. Your feelings, your dreams, your presence. They are precious and important. Don't let age or fear hold you back. Instead, embrace the wisdom you've gained, the resilience you've built, and the unique light that only you can bring to this world. So today, I encourage you to take one small step. Reach out to someone, try something new, or simply pause and notice the beauty around you. Let that step be the start of your beautiful second chapter. Remember, you are not alone. We're walking this path together, and I'm cheering you on every step of the way. If this video inspired you or gave you hope, please leave a comment below sharing one thing you'll try or have learned. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can continue supporting each other on this incredible journey. Here's to loving life again, at any age.